Oh, hello everyone. Welcome to the Econobox garage. Come on in. Thought I'd give you a tour of the back side of the dashboard while I have it out. This is the fuel gauge here. There's the switch for the panel lights. It's the speedometer, tachometer. That's where the steering column comes through, and that's the wire for the horn. The choke cable will come through this hole here. This is the switch for the windshield wipers. This is the switch for signal lights. This is the ignition and light switch for the headlights and such. And then this is the heater motor switch and control. This is the windshield washer pump. And then this is the backing plate for the grab handle on the passenger side. So the idea now is to mate up the wiring harness as much as possible with the back of the instrument panel. So this is the dash wiring harness. You see this grommet here, this goes through the firewall. So everything this side of that grommet will be inside the firewall, so we're not concerned with that at the moment. This wire here goes through the firewall and to the directly to the battery. This is the wiring that goes to the windshield washer or windshield wiper motor. So that will also go through the firewall. So what we're concerned with, or what I'm concerned with now, is everything that's left. So these four wires here, with these kind of connectors on the end, those will hook up to the ignition switch. And there are three wires here with spade connectors. There's a green with white, a green with red, and a green with brown wire. Those connect to the signal light switch. These are light sockets, and I have bulbs on order. Those are on their way. This is for the lighting. That will give me the light for the rev counter, and I think and there's one other light that will get hooked into here as well. Get brown with green. This one here, that's the horn wire, so that'll hook up to this one on here. And these are the wires for the fuel gauge, and that's for a ground. These three wires will go to the panel light switch on the bottom here. That's right here. And there's a couple of other ones here. I'll just have to double check. I do have the wiring diagram handy, so we'll see where those ones go. There's another ground connection here. Again, I'm just going to have to figure out where exactly those ground connections go. There's the two of them. There's one on this end, which I'm assuming is going to go to the back of the fuel gauge. And then this one here, I'm assuming will go to the back of either the rev counter or the speedometer. So I've got a color copy of the wiring diagram for the car, so that's what I'm following as I go along here. So I'm just going to hook up the wires for the fuel gauge. So there's the two wires here. One is a green with black stripe, and one's just a plain green. So if I go back to my diagram here, green with black is number 24, and green is number 17. So the 17 goes to the B connector on the gauge, and the striped one goes to the T. I don't know if we'll be able to spot it in here, but let's move these out of the way for a sec. I can see it right about there. There's a B, and on this side, just underneath the terminal there, there's a letter T. Really hard to see, but I can really hard to see, but I'm going to hook those up. So the T gets the striped wire, and the plain wire goes to the B terminal. There we have the fuel gauge wired up. And next I'm going to go to the panel light switch. I think it's going to be easier to just pop this out so I can get a better shot at the slots on the top of the little set screws here. So I'll pop the switch out, put the wires on, and put the switch back in. Okay, so the panel light switch is wired up, and I'm just going to have to figure out how to hold these wires back, or maybe reroute them so they don't interfere with the trip odometer reset button. And I've got the horn wire hooked up, and next up, and then I've got the ground hooked up on the rev counter. So now I'm going to hook up the light for the rev counter, set up the wiper switch, and then move on to the ignition switch and a signal light switch. I have the wiper switch wired up. I have the heater motor switch wired up. Seems to be a lot of wire there, but we'll deal with that. I'll probably get some zip ties out just to tie things off so they're not rattling around too much. And I have the signal light switch. I'm pretty sure this is the correct way to do it. I'm looking into that. There was only 3 wires with the spade connectors on it, but there's actually 6 connections on the switch itself. So I'm assuming this is the common one in the middle, which is the green-brown wire, and the green wire with the red stripe is for the left-hand side signal lights. The green wire with the white stripe is for the right-hand side signal lights. So I'm assuming that's done. I'm going to double check and make sure. And I'm just going to figure out which connector goes where on the ignition switch. I just have 4 wires, and on the wiring diagram it tells me, it gives me letters for the terminals, but I'm having a hard time finding any letters on the switch here itself. So there we have the back side of the dashboard all wired up. Starting with the fuel gauge over here, and then the panel light switch, the speedometer, the signal light indicator, the rev counter, and I've got the windshield wiper switch, the signal light switch, the main ignition and light switch, and the switch for the heater. There's no electrical going to the windshield washer pump. That's purely mechanical. So this wire here will hook up to the battery, and then this little bit of the harness here will go to the windshield wiper motor. And here's the wire for the horn. So that's a wrap for this week. So if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to share it with your friends. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget that little bell icon. Click on that and you'll get notified when the next video comes out. And in that video, I'll be getting the car prepped to put the dashboard actually in the car. My name is Ian. This is the Econobox Garage. We'll see you next time.